This conference will now be recorded.
Right. So yesterday we have seen how to create the database table, how to create the database table fields by using direct data types. Okay. So we have created the table. We have created the client independent table. Okay. We have created client independent table with three fields: employee number and employee name and employee designation. Then after creating the table, we have generated the table maintenance. Before generating the table maintenance, we have created the function group because whenever we generate the table maintenance, some dependent objects gets generated. Those dependent objects get stored in the function group. So as part of table maintenance creation, we need to provide the function group and we need to provide the authorization group. Okay, and we need to provide the maintenance type. Yesterday we provided the maintenance type as one step. So in one step what happens, only one screen will be generated called as what, overview screen. In that overview screen only we are able to perform all the four crude operations: create, read, update and what, delete. Then just to minimize the navigations for the end user, we have created the T code for what, table maintenance, by skipping the initial screen. Okay, so that the end user can need not remember the navigations in SM30, directly can run the T code. It takes us control to the screen where he can maintain the data. Okay, and we have understood the limitations of table creation using direct data types. What are the limitations? All the character field values are always captured in what, uppercase, even though you enter it in lowercase or as a combination of lower and uppercase, the character field values are captured in uppercase. And another issue is we are unable to generate the column headings. Okay, that is one issue. Then the other issue was we cannot impose any kind of validations on the fields. Okay, and so to overcome all these limitations, it is always recommended to create the table fields using data elements and what, domains. Okay, so let us understand first what is a data element and what is a domain. Okay, so in the last class we have seen the table. Table is a dictionary object, database object, which is a collection of rows and columns. Similarly, a data element is also a reusable dictionary object which provides a description for the field. Okay, I repeat, a data element is a reusable dictionary object which provides a description for the field. Means while creating the data elements, we can maintain the descriptions. Those descriptions will appear on different screens wherever the data element is referred. Okay, so by using this data element, we can generate the descriptions for the fields. We can generate the headings. Okay, we can generate the labels, all those things. Okay, and data element is associated with a domain. What is a domain? A domain is also a reusable dictionary object which stores the technical properties of the field like data type and what, size. I repeat, a domain is a reusable dictionary object. Why I am saying reusable? Once you create the data element or domain, that data element I can use it in different areas of my SAP system. It is reusable. So a domain is a reusable dictionary object which stores the technical properties of the field like data type and what, size. So if you open any standard table, all the standard tables are created by using what, data elements and domains. So if I go to SC11, yeah, you can see. Let me open a table called as KNA1. So if I display this table, Yeah, you can see if you take this field MANDT, this field is created by referring to a data element called as MANDT. Okay, so these data elements you can see they are not starting with a Z or Y. So it means that they are standard data elements given by SAP. Okay, just like your standard database tables, we have standard data elements and domains, which are provided by what? SAP itself. So what I told about data element, a data element stores a description of the field, and this description will appear automatically on the screens wherever the data element is referred. Suppose if you take this field MANDT, what is the data element? MANDT. So if I double click on this data element, yeah, this is the data element. So as part of this data element, we have a tab called as field label. Field label. If I choose field label, yeah, there are some short label, medium label, long, and heading are maintained. These labels will automatically appear on the screens wherever the data element is what referred. Okay. Similarly, if I open another data element, let me go back. If you open, suppose if you take the second field Tunar, what is the data element of this KNR field? Again, data element. If I double click on this data element, in the field label tab, you can see there are some labels maintained. These labels will automatically appear on the screens wherever the data element is used. Okay, let me open another data element, landware underscore GP. If I double click on this, this also contains what? Some labels. So every data element will be associated with what? Field label, nothing but description. This field label description will appear on the screens automatically wherever the data element is what? Referred. Done. Now, a data element can be associated, any data element can be associated with a direct data type or it can be associated with a domain. Okay, so if I double click on MANDT here, this is a MANDT data element. If I go to data type tab, here you can see this data element is referring to what? A domain. Domain data button is selected. What is the domain name here? MANDT. Understood? Domain name is MANDT. So here data element name and domain name are also what? Same. It can be same or it can be different. What is the note I gave or not? What is the note I told about domain? A domain stores the technical properties of the field like data type and what size. So you can see this domain is associated with what? A data type client and what is the size? 3. So a data element can be associated with the domain. A data element can be associated with the predefined data type. Understood? Predefined data type, or it can be associated with what? Object oriented interfaces or what? Classes, reference type. Understood? Let me go back. Let me check the domain of other field. Suppose if you take Kunnar, what is the data element Kunnar here? If you double click in the data type, it is also associated with the domain. What is the domain name? KU NNR. Character of what? 10. Okay. Let me double click on another data element. Landware underscore GP. If you double click on this, yeah, landware underscore GP is a data element. You can see the domain name. The domain name is different. Data element name and domain name can be same or can be different. And this domain is associated with what data type character of what 3. So most of the domains or most of the data elements provided by SAP, most of the data elements provided by SAP, they are associated with what a domain. So if I double click on name underscore GP, here is the data element. It is associated with what domain? Name. So a data element can be associated with a domain. It can be associated with the direct data type or it can be associated with a reference type. In object oriented, it can refer to a class or what? Interface. That. So we understood what is data element and what is domain. I'll just summarize before we use it. A data element is a reusable dictionary object which provides a description for the field. This description will appear automatically on the screens wherever the data element is what used. Similarly, a data element is associated with what? A domain. What is a domain? Domain is a reusable dictionary object which stores the technical properties of the field like data type and what? Size. Done. So now my requirement is I want to create a table. I want to create a client dependent table. Client dependent table. I want to create a client dependent table. So client dependent table means the first field of the table is what? MANDT. Okay, so I want to create a table something like this Z645 underscore EMP. Z645 underscore EMP. I want to create client dependent table. So the first field should be what? MANDT. MANDT. It stores the client field. Then I want to create what? I want to capture employee data. So I'll take employee number, employee name, and I'll take this as what? Employee what? Designation. So I'll create a table with what? 4 fields. And all these fields, yesterday we have created the fields by referring to what? Direct data. Now I want to create these fields by referring to what? A data element or what? Domain. A data element or domain. Okay? Right. Let's create this. So yeah, I'll go to SC11, ABAP Dictionary. I'll give the table name as Z. Uh, Let me give the table name as something Z645 underscore EMP. Right, this is the table name. Let me click on create. Done. As usual, I have to give the description. Let me give the description as something employee data. Done. So already we know the minimum settings for creating the database table. So here under delivery and maintenance, let us give what delivery class. I'll browse this. I'll give the delivery class as something what C, which indicates what customizing table, maintenance only by customer. Okay, so I'll choose customizing table. Then I want the user to perform all types of CRUD operations. So I'll choose display maintenance what allowed, so that we can perform all the CRUD operations. Done. Then I'll go to fields. Yeah, I want to create what client dependent table. So what is the first field here? MANDT. What is the purpose of this field? It has to store what? Client number. So these fields I can create by referring to direct data types, or I can refer to what data element or what domain. So suppose if I am referring to direct data type, what you will do yesterday, we went to what predefined type. Okay, and MANTT, what is the purpose of MANTT? To store the client number. Client is a 3-digit number. Na? So if you browse for the data type, we have one data type called as CLNT, client. If I choose this client field and I press enter, I got the length as what? 3. So here also, I am creating the field directly by referring to what? Data type. Already we know the limitations. I cannot maintain description, and the character data is always captured in uppercase. We cannot impose what? Validations. So better I create this create these fields by referring to what data elements and what domains. So I'll remove this. I'll go for what data element and what domain. I'm just removing this. I'll click on what data element, so that this column will be enabled. By default, it will be like this, right? So the purpose of MANDT field is to store the client number. So for that, what SAP has done is they have given some predefined data element. What is the predefined data element? MANDT. So I can use the standard data elements also in my custom tables. Okay. So this is the data element given by what? SAP itself. So when I press enter, you can see automatically I got the data type and what size, I got the description. Okay, so this is a data element given by SAP. When I double click on this, right, okay, So you can see there's a data element given by SAP which is having some field labels, and this data element is associated with a domain MANDT. What is the data? Client offer 3. Done. Right. Let me create another field. I'll give the field name as what? EMP number. EMP number. Okay. So this field I want to create by referring to a data element. So since I want to refer to a custom data element, you need to start with what? Z. So I'll give ZEMP number. ZEMP number. Okay. So I'll press enter. SAP will check whether this data element is available. I might have created this data element earlier. I might have used it in other batch. Okay, so data element is reusable now. Just like MANDT we are reusing. This data element also I might have created earlier. So if it is available, I'll get the data type and size. If it is not available, it will prompt you to create the data element. So let me press enter. When I press enter, yeah, you can see it is already available. That's why I got one data type and what size. Okay. If I double click on the data element, let me check what is associated with that. When I double click, yeah, it is already available. Did they maintain any label here? Yes, I have maintained some labels, and this data element is also referring to our domain, same name, character about 15. Okay, so I can use it, no problem. But since we are new to data element, let us understand how to create our own data elements. Understood? So every time we will not create. Once you create, it is available in the SAP system. I can use it anywhere. But just to understand how to create our own data elements, I'll try to provide a non-existing data element so that it will prompt you to create the data element. Okay, so let me give the name as ZEMP underscore number. ZEMP underscore number. I am not sure whether it is available or not. So I'll press enter. It is also available. It is also available. NUMC alpha numeric of what 10. Okay, I'll give it as ZEMP NUM. I don't know whether available or not. I'll press enter. That is also available. Okay, I'll say ZEMP underscore num. I'll press enter. It is also available. Okay, Z employee underscore number. I'll press enter. Okay, Z employee underscore number. When I press enter, yeah, what is saying here? You can see on the status bar, Z employee underscore number is not active. So let us see how to create our own data elements. Understood? So I'll double click on this data element. Double click on the data element. Say yes. Data element is not available. Create the data element. Yes, I'll create the data element. Short description. I'll give a description as something. Employee number, any description. Done. Okay, so as part of data element, what you'll do generally, you'll maintain the field labels, you'll maintain the descriptions. Okay, so I'll go to what field label tab. Here I can maintain 4 types of label: short label, medium label, long label, heading. It is not compulsory to maintain all the labels. I can maintain all the labels, or I can maintain either of the labels, any of the labels. Excuse me. Right. I can maintain all the labels, or I can maintain any of the labels. So each label will appear on different screens. Okay, why SAP has given these many labels is these labels are used in different areas of SAP system. In one place, it may pick up medium label. In another place, it may become long label. In some places, you'll have a choice whether to pick up medium, long, short heading. Okay, so like that, there is a reason there have been 4 types of labels. So what I'll do is I'll just give what some labels like EMP number, meaningful names. Okay, this medium label I'll give it as employee number. This long label I'll give it as something employee number. This heading I'll give it as something employee number. Like this, wantedly I'm trying to maintain different types of labels. When I press enter, it will automatically propose the length there. Then I got it. Fine. So I maintain the labels. It is not compulsory to maintain the labels, but the agenda of going for data element is what? To maintain the labels. Again, if you don't maintain the labels, again it becomes what? Similar to our direct data types. Done. So this data element, if I go to data type tab, yeah, a data element can refer to a domain, or a data element can refer to what? A data element can refer to a domain, or a data element can refer to a predefined type. I repeat, a data element can refer to a domain, or it can refer to a predefined type. So as of now, I'll not go for domain. I'll direct in the data type tab, I'll choose the radio button predefined type. Predefined type. What data type you want to refer? I'll browse it. Let me give it as something integer 4. Integer 4. When you press enter, it will propose a length for that. What is that? 10. Understood? So data element can be created by referring to a domain or by referring to what? A predefined data type. Done. It's done here. Okay, so what I did here, as part of data element, I maintained some 4 types of labels, and I'm referring the data element to the direct data type. Apart from these things, if you go to further characteristics tab, okay, we can attach the search help. So going forward, we will see how to create the search help. Means if you want any F4 help, already we have seen how to associate F4 help in selection screen. Similarly, at the database level also, we have something called a search help. Once a search help is created, we can assign it to what? We can assign it to what? N number of what? Data elements. So that we'll discuss later on. Just leave it. Just leave over the structure now. We are concerned as of now only with field label and what? Data type. Done. So what is the status of my data element? New. So data element is also what? A dictionary object. It is also an independent object. So I need to save it. I need to activate it. So let me save for the syntax errors. It is asking for the package. I'll save it in the local object. Let me check for the syntax errors. Right, no syntax errors. I'll activate this. Then, so my data element is what? Active. Okay, let me go back. So you can see now, I got the data type and what? Size. Done. Let me create another field, ename. I'll give ename. I'll give the data element. Okay. So since it is a custom data element, I'll start with Z. I'll give it as Z ename. I don't know whether it is already available or not. Let me press enter. It is available. That's why I got the data type and what size. But once again, I want to refer to a non-existing data element. So that let us see once again how to create it. So I'll try to give the data element name as Z employee underscore name. I don't know whether it is available or not. So when I press enter, good. It is not active, not available. So let's create the data element. So I'll double click on the data element and say yes. Create the data element. Yes. I'll provide some description here. Done. So first of all, let me maintain the label. So I'll go to label. I'll give only medium label. I'll give it as something employee name. Understood? Wantedly, I'm maintaining only medium label. No problem. Done. Okay. Then I'll come to our data type tab. So just now we have seen a data element can be created either by referring to a direct data type or by referring to a domain. So here what I can do here also, I can refer to predefined type. So for employee names, it is a character generally. So I'll give the data type as something character of what? 20. I can do like this. Okay. So here also the data element is referring to a direct data type. But again, you will have the same issue. Character field values are always captured in what? Uppercase. So in order to address that issue, it is always recommended to create the what character type data elements by referring to what domain. I can create like this also, but again you'll have the same issue. The character field values are always captured in what uppercase. I want to address that, so I'll go for what domain. Understood? So this is deselected now. I'll go for what domain, right? So we have not yet created the data element. What is the status still here? New. So first let me create the domain, activate the domain, come back and activate your data element. Come back and activate your data element. So here I have to give the domain name. So let me give the domain name as ZE name. Okay, I don't know whether it is available or not. If I press enter, what is the purpose of a domain? It stores the technical properties of the field like data type and what size. So if it is already available, I'll get the data type and what size here. So I'll press enter. It is already available. Okay, I can use it. But again, let us create our own domain. So I'll give the domain name as z employee underscore what name. Z employee underscore name. So if you observe here, the data element name is same, domain name is also what same. We can have the same names or we can have different names. Okay, so let me try to give let me try to give the same name. I'll press enter. Done. What is saying here? No active domain is available. So let me create the domain. So first create and activate the domain, come back and activate the data element. So double click on the domain, not available. Let me create the domain. Right. Domain is not available, create the domain. I'll say yes. Right, I'll give the description here. Let me give the description as something employee name. Done. Then data type. I'll give the data type as something character of something 20. Done. So I'm associating the technical properties to the domain like data type and what size. Done. After this, we had a issue with the character fields earlier. No? Always the character fields are captured in what? Uppercase. So how do we address that? Means at the domain level in the definition tab, we have a checkbox here lowercase. If the lowercase checkbox is selected, what happens? It will retain the case sensitivity of the character field values. Means if I enter the character field values in uppercase, it will be captured in uppercase. If I enter it in lowercase, it will capture in lowercase. If I enter it as a combination of upper and lower or whatever it is, it will retain that particular format. It will not convert into what uppercase. So let me select the checkbox lowercase. So don't think that lowercase means it will store in lowercase. No, it will retain the case sensitivity of the character field value. So let me select the checkbox lowercase. So because of this reason, it is always recommended to create the character field values by referring to a domain so that we'll have the option to select the checkbox lowercase. Done. We have we have a tab called as value range. This will come back later on. Done. Let me activate my domain. What is the status here? New. So let me save it. Check for the syntax error. No errors. Let me activate my domain. Right. Domain is what? Activated. Let me go back. Domain is what? Active. Let me go back. So here you can say I got the data pencil. Now you go ahead and activate your data element. Let me save the data element, check for the syntax error, activate your data element. Done. Data element is what? Active. Go back. Done. So I got the data type and what size. So I repeat, this data element I created by referring to a direct data type. Okay, here also I can create by referring to a domain, but you know this is an integer. I will not have any case sensitive issue. That's why I went for a predefined type. Then this data element I created by referring to a domain, which is having the same name as that of what data element. So as part of domain level, we have the option to select the checkbox lowercase to retain the case sensitivity of the character field values. Let me create another field now. I'll give the field name as what? EMP desig. Let me give the data element as z employee underscore desig. I don't know whether available or not. I'll press enter. Not available. Let us create the data element. I will click on this. Done. Create the data element. Yes. Maintain some short description here. I'll give something basic. Done. Then here you have to give what? Field label. Field label. I am not giving any field label. Let me keep it blank. Wantedly, I am not giving any field label. Then I'll go to the domain data type. Okay, since designation is also character field, better we create by referring to a domain only. Okay, so in the earlier case, my domain name and data element name were same. Now I'll give a different name. Let me give it as something z employee underscore. Okay, z employee underscore what? Basic. Okay, z employee basic also. Okay, data element is underscore basic. This domain name I am giving it as z employee basic. Wantedly I am giving different name. It's our wish. I'll press enter. It is saying that domain is not available. Let us create the domain. Let me double click on this. Done. I'll save it in the local object. Create the domain. Yes. I'll give some description. Done. I'll give the data type as what? Something character of something 25. Done. Let me select the checkbox lowercase so that we can retain the case sensitivity. Now I have a requirement. When I enter the designation values, designation should be either manager or employee or what supervisor. Designation should be either manager or employee or what supervisor. Otherwise, it should not allow me to accept that particular value. So, what I'll do now, I'll go to value range tab in the domain level only. I'll go to value range tab. Here you can see I can maintain the fixed values. What are the fixed values you want to maintain? I want to give employee, so I'll give E in uppercase. This I'll give it as something manager. M is in uppercase. Then I'll give supervisor. I want only these three possible values. Let's say I'm maintaining some fixed values as part of what value range tab. Let me activate your domain. I'm trying to activate the domain. Check for the syntax errors, no errors. Activate your domain. Okay, domain is activated. I'll go back. Activate your data element. Remember, I have not maintained any label for my data element. Remember, okay? Activate this. I'm able to activate. Then come back. Right? So I created all my four fields by referring to a data elements. For MANDT field, I'm making use of the standard data element given by SAP itself. For other fields, I created my custom data elements or custom domains. Any questions up to this part? Right, so there are no questions. Yeah, we can have any number of columns. You can. What column you want me to take? Yeah, okay. So I'll take a column EMP sal, EMP sal. I'll give the data element here as z employee underscore what sal, z employee underscore sal. It is not available. Let me double click on this. Create the data element. Yes. I'll give the description employee sal. Right. So elementary type. I can go for domain or I can go for a predefined type. Okay. So anyhow, this is what numeric data type. No? So I'll go for what predefined type. I'll give the data type. Let me give the data type as yeah. I'll give the data type as something this one. What is this? DC. What is this? Counter or amount field with comma and what? sign. Okay, this DEC, counter or amount filled with what currency and what sorry, amount filled with comma and what sign. So I'll just choose this. Number of positions. Number of positions is less than minimum number for data type DEC. So I need to give what the length here. Okay, I'll give the length as what 10. I'll give the decimals as something what 2. That's it. So similarly what packed. Okay, data X type P. Okay, decimals 2, something like that. So, okay, at the program level we have what packed. Here we have what DEC. It is similar to what packed. That's it. The difference between integer and this decimals is integers cannot hold decimal values, but whereas this DEC decimal data type can hold what decimal values. Okay, done. Now let me save it. What is saying here? Maintain what field label. So here we have field label. I'll not maintain, or if you want, you can maintain here. Uh, it's not mandatory. Let me maintain. What should I use? Employee salary. Employee salary. Done. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate your data element. Done. So you can assume this DEC is similar to what packed. At the program level, you will say data EMP cell type P, what decimals what 2, something like that. Done. Right. So I created the 4 fields. Similarly, I'll take float also. Going forward, I'll come across what float data type also. We generally don't go for float. We always go for packed because float will store the data in what exponential format. Right. I'll come back to that as and when required. Then I created the table with what 4 columns. Shrikant, is it clear? This DEC is similar to what packed. This is what you're asking. Okay. Any of float also will see going forward. Float is there, currency, quantity fields, many things are there. Okay. Then I created the fields. Next, as usual, you have to maintain other settings, technical settings. I'll go to technical settings, data class. I'll choose the data class as something APPL0 to indicate SAP that we are creating this table for storing master data. Then size category, let me give it as 0 so that it will allocate the memory for how many records initially 5600 records. I'll choose 0. Done. Let me save the let me save it. Save your technical settings. Go back. Then you have to give what? Enhancement category. Na? So go to extras, enhancement category. Same thing what you have done yesterday. Right? So I'll choose can be enhanced character type or numeric. Done. Then let me save it. And next I told you that there should be minimum what one primary key field. As of now, I don't have any primary key fields. When I do syntax check, I got an error. What is the error I got? Z645 underscore UMP specify a primary key. So let me make, and say we understood that primary key fields should be at the beginning of the table. So I'll make MANDT as what primary key. Only MANDT I'm making it as a primary key field. Let me save it. Check for the syntax error. Activate this. Done. I'm able to activate. So this is a client dependent table, means it contains what MANDT as the first field, and only MANDT I made it as what primary key. Okay, so we know that for MANDT the values are generated by what SAP itself. Done. So let me try to insert the record here. How do you insert? Here only utilities, table contents. What is this? Create entries, right? So when I say create entries, Yeah, see here for employee for MNDT, the value is provided by what SAP itself. Okay, so let me give employee number one, employee name. I'll give it as something Rajesh. Okay, you can observe now Rajesh Kumar. I gave R and K in uppercase, rest of thing in lowercase. So when I press enter also, so it is not converted to what uppercase because this employee name field I created by referring to a domain, and at the domain level we have selected the checkbox what lowercase. Done. Then employee designation. Okay, I gave some value range for that fixed values now. So if you browse this, I'm getting the possible values. Okay, if I enter other than this, it will not accept. So let me choose what manager. Done. Then employee salary. I'll give the employee salary as something 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me check what happens. Done. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dot 0, 0 because I get the decimals as what two decimals. Okay, done. Let me save it. What happened? Database record successfully created. So if you go back, if you go to contents, if you execute this, yes, we have one record. One Rajesh Kumar, manager, and what? So and so. Done. Now I'll try to insert what? One more record. I'll try to insert one more record. Right? So we have only one primary key field, which is MANDT. Okay. Now I'll go to what? Contents. Sorry, I'll go to utilities, table contents, create entries. Again, for the second record also, the value for MNDT is what? 800. Fine. I'll give the employee number as 2. I'll give it as something Kishore. And I'll give the designation when I browse it. I'll give the designation as something supervisor. I'll give some data here. Okay, done. I'll click on what? Save. Okay. When I click on save, I got the message. See the message here? A data record with the specified key is already existing. Data record with the specified key is already existing because what is the primary key field in my table? Right. Okay, so right, so data record specified key is already what? Existing. So what is the meaning here? For the second record also, it has inserted the MANDT value as what? 800. Okay, but 800 is already there now. So that's why it is not allowing me to what? Insert because this is the only primary key field. Primary key field values doesn't accept what? Duplicate values. Since 800 is already there in the first record, it is not allowing me to insert the one more record. Already 800 is there. So what I'm trying to say is in client dependent tables, okay, minimum we should have two primary key fields. If you make only MANDT as primary key field, what is the problem? I can maintain only a single record because for the first record, the value for the client field is given by what? SAP itself. For the second record also, SAP will try to insert the same client number now. So since it is a what primary key field doesn't accept duplicate value. So if I leave it like this, doesn't make sense. If I leave it like this, it doesn't make sense because we can maintain only one record. That's the reason you take any client dependent tables. For example, if I take KN11 table here, you can see this is client dependent table. Minimum you'll have what? Two primary key fields. Like that, I can have up to 16 primary key fields. I can leave it like this, but what is the problem? I can maintain only single record. That's the reason I'll make the employee number also as what? Primary key. I'll make the employee number also as what? Primary key field. So that it checks for the combination every time. Now this is called as composite key. So when I save it, okay, I modified the settings here. Do the syntax check. I'll activate this. Done. It is activated. right? It is activated. So we have got two primary key fields, which we call this composite key. So what is the combination available in the table now? Now it checks for the combination. What is the combination we are having here? What is the combination we are having here? 800 and what? 1. So when I insert the second record, you check the combination. Okay, so I'll say utilities, table contents. What is this? Create entries, right? I'll give the employee number as 2. I'll give some data. Okay, I'll give the designation. I'll give some salary. Let me save it. What happened now? Database could successfully keep because it checks the combination. The available combination is 801. Now this is 802. It checks the combination of those two field values. When I insert one more record, let me save it. Database got successfully created. So we are having what? Overall three records here. We are having overall three records. Done. So that's why in the client dependent tables, minimum we should have what? Two primary key fields. We should have minimum two primary key fields so that it is called as what? Composite key. Done. Now, well, when you created the table yesterday or today also, we gave what? Enhancement category. We gave what? Enhancement category. What is this enhancement category means? Enhancement category means enhancement is what? Adding what? Additional features. Okay, in this case, nothing but adding additional fields. So as of now, my table is created with how many fields? 5 fields. Okay, so it's working fine, everything is fine. Now in future, my customer will say that you want some additional field. You want some additional field. Okay, and or he wants to modify the data types of what? Existing fields. So we have to check whether we can enhance our table or not. So that what extensibility is controlled by what? Enhancement category. So here I gave the enhancement category as what? Can be enhanced character type or numeric. Means in future I can add additional fields into my table whose data type should fall under what category? Character type category or what? Numeric type category. If I enter other than these two, it will not accept. That is the meaning of that. Okay. Suppose if I choose what? Can be enhanced deep. What is the meaning of this? I can add additional fields in my table which can have any kind of data type. It can have character data type, numeric data type, raw data type. We have data type called as raw data type, existing data type, hexadecimal string. So it supports any kind of what? Data type. Understood? So the purpose of enhancement category is it controls the extensibility of the table. Suppose in the KN11 table, SAP has given, yeah, it is this option is available only for table as well as structures also. Table as well as structures also. Because structure is also a collection of fields. I should be able to add additional fields in the structure also at later point of time. Not only adding additional fields, if I modify the data types of the existing fields also, it should fall into that category only. Suppose here SAP has given this KNN table with how many fields? 212 fields. So these 212 fields are not sufficient for us. Okay, so according to my customer business requirement, I want some additional fields in the KNM table. So I need to check whether I can add additional fields or not. So that is controlled by what? If I go to extras enhancement category, you can see now can be enhanced to character type or what? Numeric. So what is the meaning? I can add additional fields in the KNM table, and that additional fields should be either character fields or numeric fields. Understood? So that extensibility is controlled by this particular enhancement category. So for standard tables, anyway, I cannot modify this. I have to go by this available setting. But for my custom table, as of now, my table is having these things. Okay, initially I gave the enhancement category as what? Character type or numeric. Okay, so in future I can add only these fields, but assume that in future I need to add one additional field whose data type is raw data type. So at that time it will not allow. So what you have to do, you change the existing enhancement category because this is a custom table. You change this enhancement category to what? Deep. Activate this one so that I can add what? Additional fields of any data type. So that extensibility is controlled by what? Enhancement category. Enhancement category will specify what kind of fields, what kind of field data types that can be added to the table at later point of time. Done. Okay, so we have created the table with what? This particular 4 fields. These are 5 fields. Okay. Any other questions here? So we understood what is a data element, what is a domain, all those things. Data element is a what? Reusable dictionary object which provides a description for the field, which provides a description for the field. And domain is also a reusable dictionary object which stores the technical properties of the field. Done. Any questions? Discuss this rest of the part on Monday's session. Okay, so today we understood how to create the table fields by using data elements and what domain. So on Monday's session we'll see how to generate the table maintenance for this table by using what? Two-step. We'll understand what is this two-step, what is the difference between overview screen and what? Single screen. And we will see whether these labels are displayed or not. We have maintained some labels. Okay. We'll check whether those labels are displayed or not. Done. Any questions before I wind up for today?
Sir, in case of enhancement category deep structure, uh, we
Hmm.
uh, we have included the structure. That means it is a deep structure, right? But we have kept it as only character type. Can be enhanced only to the character level.
No, can you repeat that? Where I include the structure here?
Not here in the KNA one table. They SAP has
Hmm.
included the include structure. That is a structure. That means it has a set of
Here,
I think.
each structure means it
Uh-huh.
can have any kind of data types. It's not that since we have included the structure, we have to choose the enhancement category as a deep. No.
Okay.
Okay. SAP might have included. SAP might have included. Okay. But we cannot include. We cannot include because they are clearly saying that it is what? Character type or what? Means I can add only individual fields whose data type should be what? Character type or what? Numeric. If SAP would have selected can be enhanced to deep means I can add my own structures by using what? Dot include. Here I can add the structures by using append structure, not by using what? Dot include.
Okay.
Is it clear, Ravindra?
No, sir. Can you elaborate?
Yeah. Here, what SAP has done here is, see, first thing is we cannot change this. This is fixed. What is selected here can be enhanced to character numeric means I can add additional fields in this table. I can add additional fields in this table. Okay, and those fields should be either character type or what? Numeric.
Yes.
Okay, I cannot include what? Structures here because what is this is not selected and can be enhanced deep is not selected. One second.
Right.
When I press F1, I just press F1. Just
Okay.
want to check what SAP has done. Mm. Good. Yeah, you can see it.
Okay.
Clearly, they're saying it. See, what is this? Okay. See, this is not selected here. Can be enhanced DP not selected. This
Correct.
is selected. Means I can add only fields whose data type is what? Character type or what? Numeric. I
Yes.
cannot add the fields whose data type is what? What? Tables, references, and what? Strings. Am I clear?
Okay.
I
Okay.
cannot add the fields which are referring to table types, which are referring to classes or interfaces, or which are
Okay.
referring to what? String data type. Okay, that is the
Okay.
meaning of this. Must not contain any deep data type. These are considered what? Deep, not only these things, we have other data like raw data type, existing data type, hexadecimal string. Those fields I cannot add because they are not selected what? Can be enhanced deep. I can add the fields, but that field should be either character fields or what? Numeric fields. So when I say character type fields, it can be C, N, alphanumeric, D, date, T, time. Numeric means what? Integer, float, decimals. Those comes under what? Numeric data. But I cannot add any field which is referring to a table type, which is referring to a class or interface, which is referring to a string data type, which is referring to a raw data type, which is referring to a hexadecimal string. Those fields I cannot add. You understood?
Okay.
Deep
Okay.
means some deep data types. Deep data type means examples are what they clearly said:
Mm.
tables, references to a class or interface, string data types, hexadecimal strings, all those things. Is it
Okay.
clear?
Yes. Clear.
So
Clear.
in our case, what you can do, I can select anything. I can select anything. Okay. If I select this, what is the meaning? In future, I can add
Mm.
additional fields in my table, which can
Mm.
also contain what? Deep data types. If I
Okay.
select this, it cannot contain the fields with the deep data types. But assume that I have selected like this, but later on my requirement is I need to create a table which has to refer to a what? A class or interface, or which are to refer to a internal table, that is
Yes.
table type. So at
Yes.
that time, what you will do initially, you will change this category. You will change it to what? Can we enhance the div? You will activate this, then you will add the additional fields. That in custom tables we can modify, but in standard tables we cannot.
Okay. Clear.
Clear?
It's clear. Thanks.
Okay, so I'll stop now. We'll continue what on Monday. We'll see how to generate the table maintenance with maintenance type as two-step, and we'll see how to create the structures, and we'll see how to include the structure in the table, and we'll see how to implement events at what table level, events at table maintenance level. Done. So I'll wind off. Actually, one more thing before I wind off. Uh, okay, yeah, our people will drop a mail. Fine, leave it. No problem. Okay, we'll continue on Monday.